No, he's keeping sentries alive. He's not attacking with them, which is good. What he needs to do. He has a lot of chrono boost, so he could use that to get his more sentries out, finish his warp gate attack.
Could be using it to spend my money at all. Again, I played like crap.
We're not talking about macro this episode.
I know, I just,
so
you
we're
know.
fine. We're gonna go to we see one wasted force field here. His pilot goes down. He puts up a force field, preventing me. I mean, I probably could have snuck through and maybe done some damage to this probe line. So maybe it was good, but also you don't want, unless I'm gonna be going there, unless you could physically see me walking toward in that direction, don't do it, because switches are gonna be slow off creep. I don't have speed, and you could have trapped the roach and killed it with your sentries. And even if you could separate one roach and force field it. So the roaches are coming down. We missed the force field, but I end up double backing, and he gets a nice one. He cuts off 2 roaches, so the cannon was able to get a kill. So we're using terrain to our advantage. Whatever chokes we can get between this assimilator as well as this Vespene geyser, we kind of want to take it. Overlord being bad and dying, and this is when I'm just trying to do is maximize my damage. He prevents me from running away. That force was probably unnecessary. These 2 were kind of wasted energy, because even if I tried to attack you, 5 sentries is going to beat 1 roach, or 1 to 2 roaches. So those times you could have conserved a little bit of energy, so that you had him for the next fight. So I think that was a little bit of overzealous force fielding. So we're going to fast forward to the next confrontation. I
don't know where you are.
I'm just going through. I'm around. I'm timesing 8 to every 4. All right, right over here, about 11:30. 11:30. So Jshore is pushing out. I saw him with my overlord. I'm getting my roaches. I'm just A moving, and we see. I'm gonna pause it at 11:43. We have about 5 sentries. We have 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 force fields to use. Now, with that in mind, I would say that 8 force fields with these stalkers would actually win versus my army here. Jshore could actually kill my army, because it's only 3 lings, and although it has a lot of roaches, he could definitely still kill it. Especially with the fact that he has his pylon up here. I mean, if it could have been moved a little bit down, he could even have the offensive warp in. Plus, he has the money for it, of course. And he's got the chrono boost. The chrono boost is gateways if they were on cooldown. But he also has gateways that are finishing in his base, so he could definitely have mopped up my army pretty easy. But here with the force fields, what we were talking about is that he wants to use his force fields to dissect my army. He wants to cut up small pieces to minimize the damage that he takes, but maximize the damage that he deals. Here we're kind of see like defensive force fields for him to try and run away, but we end up stacking. It looks like a panic mode force field and run away, but we end up getting this force field igloo looking thing. It's like 3 force fields that are actually stacked. That's the worst thing you can do as a player is stack your force fields, because it doesn't do anything because there's a force field there. It's a waste of energy. It's a bad habit, and it's kind of an example of your mouse precision. So you kind of want to work on that. Now, if he did have 3 force fields, even with this, just looking at how many he put down, if they were spaced out, he could have walled off the center of this road all the way down to the cliff of his main, with 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Therefore, he would have actually minimized the damage he took. He could have killed the lings and then added even more than the 3 force fields to the top as the roaches were pouring down. So what it essentially would look like if you wall this off, the roaches would be funneling in this way. The lings would all die, of course. And the roaches would start coming in here. He would get another force field off once they have about 3 roaches. And then the rest of the army will have to funnel in even more. So he would get 3 roach kills, because essentially it'll be 5 sentries, 5 stalkers versus 3 roaches. By the time that it takes him to kill that, my army should be still coming around the additional force field that was placed over here. And then he could dissect it again and again, because he could continuously dissect this, because I don't have the speed to really go on. I can't go around the force fields fast enough, and I don't have burrow movement or anything like that, so I can't do anything fancy to. Basically, Jshore, this is a moment where you could have won this battle easy with that in mind, because I'm just too slow. I don't have the creep spread yet. I'm on basically your half of the map, and the sentries are very important. They really could win a battle for you. It really comes down to something as simple as a force field, although not so simple, of course. He gets 1, which kind of forces my lings to go around and he was trying to keep his sentry alive, but it ended up backfiring anyways, because I do have speed. What you should have done, instead of force fielding, let your hurt sentry walk towards your base and pull your rest of your army to kill the lings. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So your army's moving backward toward the lings, and your sentry that's hurt's moving away from the lings, and you would kill the ling and kept the sentry alive. And that would have been really good. I think there's one last battle where you have a bunch of sentries. You have 4. You kind of want to have at least 6 versus Zerg, always, until like the end game. Always 6, and if you lose any, you have to replace it. So we get some pretty decent force fields off, right around 1350. My army's moving in. Let's talk about some of these force fields. Again, he wants to cut my army in half. So the first force field he places, first 2, kind of do that. He's trapping about 6 roaches, and like the other 1,000 are behind these 2 force fields. These are pretty decent, but he does need to add more. I would like to see like 1 more here and 1 more here. If we were to wall off all these force fields, put down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and wall off to the top of his 3rd, then he could have basically had these entire roaches in the back do nothing, and they would have to go around this way. Then he could kill these about 10 for free, because again, it's 10 roaches versus over 18 stalkers and 4 sentries plus his cannons, and then it'll be easy win for this battle for the Protoss player. But we get 1 down here instead, and this one didn't really do anything because of the fact that I only had 1 roach anyway, so you basically force fielded out 1 roach. And then this army, if you put that force field here on the top, do you see where I'm sitting at 1356? You have 3 in the middle, 1 on the bottom. And if you put the 1 on the bottom at the top and made that choke, then you would have a lot less roaches to deal with, and this battle would have gone a lot better in your favor. You still win this battle, but you probably wouldn't have lost quite as much as you did. Again, this one not doing so much. Again, I still have a crack over here, plus I'm already falling down. You need to deal with the army in front of you. Rule of thumb is you want to force field the first most thing you see in front of you. So if you're trying to force field this army behind you, you need to keep this army in mind first, because this army is already big. You need to deal with this first, and don't even worry about this. Since you can't deal with the front part as efficiently as you would like without minimizing your damages, you want to, instead of placing this frontal force field with the rear of my army, you want to back up, retreat closer to your cannons, get the benefit of your cannons, get the benefit of being in your base, defender's advantage, and start force fielding again on the front of my army rather than the back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I know the theory behind force fields, I'm just not good at doing it.
Okay, so you know what to do.
I know what to do, I just don't do it. It takes ages to learn how to do correctly. And it's very frustrating that something like that is balanced against A-move roaches.
You mean, hey, it's harder than Stimpack, let's just say that. Anyways, you throw up 3 more, and these kind of are useless because I wasn't retreating, and I don't really have a reason to, because now I'm kind of where I want to be. I have a good amount of roaches. I'm okay with sacking them. I'm Zerg. Doesn't matter if I lose my army. Again, I have another army on the way. It doesn't matter. So you don't want to put up these force fields of trap units are mainly used in Protoss vs Terran, where they like to stem and kite you. I'm not going to kite you with slow roaches. There's no way. I have less range. I'm slow, so I'm not going to try to like kite you. So these force fields probably weren't needed, and so you could have probably placed that in a better location towards your front. If you backed up closer to your nexus and force fielded from your pylon over your cybernetics core to the left side of your gate, those would have been a better use of your force fields. And then again, you would have minimized your losses and maximize your damage potential. Instead, you take a couple stalker losses, and I end up killing all your sentries, which is the worst part of it. Those are your gas expensive units. So I kill a bunch of stalkers and I target fire your sentry. Most Zerg players aren't going to be smart enough to, actually do anything other than A moves, so they won't usually kill your sentries. I'm a Protoss player, you can tell. I'm actually killing sentries and expanding behind this. I'm already on my 4th base. But, yeah. Even you have to assume Zerg's going to be good and going to target fire your sentries. So with that in mind, you want to continuously move your sentries to the part where they're out of range of those roaches. If you lose your sentries, it's not gonna be good for you. So let's jump out of this. Let's jump into another game. This time, Jshore, you have the honors of playing Zerg. Any map preference?
Doesn't matter.
Let's do a different map, I guess, for the just to play on a little bit of variation. Let's do Zonaga cameras. And jump in here.
I'm trying to join, but it stopped working. Game broke.
Oh, game broke. There you have it. You heard it here, folks. Game's broken. I sent you an invite, by the way.
Yeah, my game crashed.
Okay. I'll wait till you relog in.
Don't send the invite. I'll just join. If I join at the same time you send an invite, which apparently happens very often,
right,
my game explodes.
Okay. So that's fine. So we just jump on me, join, and this time we'll talk about a little bit more about the sentry theory. PvZ, again, you want to have at least 6 sentries. That will give you the adequate number of force fields. You can go for more. It's personal preference for me to have at least 6. Anything less than 6, 5 or less, like Jshore had 4, that's not going to be enough force fields to stop something like that roach push. As Jshore said, that something like that roach push gives them a lot of trouble. So if you don't want to have any problems against roaches, start with at least 6 sentries in Protoss versus Zerg. Terran, I would probably use a little bit less, maybe 4 to 5 sentries, because it's not as bad and you don't have to stop an onslaught of mass numbers, at least as much as Zerg. And it's a lot easier to lose your sentries in Protoss vs Terran than it is in Protoss vs Zerg. So you have to good luck, have fun, and we're gonna be. You could go whatever ground you want, just don't do like mutas. Obviously, you won't be able to force field those. For the purpose of this video, you can go speedlings, festers, roaches, ultras.
Yeah, ultras versus force fields.
You can still force field with ultras. The trick is, of course, to force field, have the ultras crush them, and then force field behind the ultralisk, preventing the rest of the army. It's kind of
the Zerg isn't back.
Archons.
I hope the Zerg isn't good enough to back up.
Well, you put them into a position where you target firing the ultralisk at the same time, you're microing your sentries to stay alive, if you have sentries at that point. Usually in late game where hopefully it won't matter because your army's strong enough to kill the Zerg, but most of the time Zerg is always going to be having one up on Protoss. You need to get every little micro you can. Something as stupid as that, and the late game is very important, ironically. As indicated apparently from David Kim, he was saying that Protoss vs Zerg is looking really good for Zerg in every level, from Bronze to Grandmaster, on every server. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know David Kim, I know. So I need to be wary. I'm playing a Zerg player. I need to be wary of anything he's doing. I don't know yet, but I'm always going to want sentries. Every matchup, all the time. Can't get by without going some kind of sentry at some point during this game. So I'm going to be saving my chrono boost because I want those sentries ASAP. Why do I want them ASAP? Well, if I get them ASAP, that means I'm going to be having more energy at the time that the sentry pops out. I get them out faster, even though I don't need them right away. I'll accrue energy over time. That'll help me out immensely. Bless you.
Whoops. Ugh. Sneezing is not fun.
No bueno. So chrono boosting out these sentries. Hopefully this pylon finishes in time. Scouting out the Zerg player as well. seedlings on their way.